Following up on my last video where I redesigned Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy, it's now time for the second batch of Straw Hats. Today we'll be redesigning Robin, Brook, and Nami. Hello and welcome back to A Clown Stole a Pen, where I pretend I'm better at character design than the guy who's been making the best-selling manga for 26 years. First up, we have Nico Robin. Right away, we all know she has to get the cowboy hat back. I gave her a haircut because I thought it would be cool if Robin's hair length swapped with Nami's over the time skip. I also made her eyelashes vaguely hieroglyphic to reference her archaeology. Speaking of which, her shirt is also based on archaeologist attire. Her pants are too, but they split in the middle like cowboy chaps, once again playing into that western aesthetic. The whole design is a blend of cowboy, archaeologist, and a little bit of secret agent that you'll see later, and the three of them blend surprisingly well together. I initially tried to make the ends of her pant legs into a flower shape, but it was just not working, so I ended them with a flower pattern instead. Underneath her left eye, I added a teardrop mold to represent the morning of Ohara. I of course gave her cowboy boots. Feet and especially shoes are something I really struggle with, but I feel pretty good about these ones. After that, I gave her 2 extra arms made with her devil fruit. Her second left hand holds sunglasses while her second right hand holds a fan. Both tools excellent for hiding one's face. Later on, I also chopped the fan up to look like flower petals. However, they kind of look more like hearts, which isn't really what I wanted, but I don't feel like changing it. I gave her a double-breasted coat to wear on her shoulders, as it is a common fashion choice for the secretive look. And I put the second arms through it, cause why not? I placed a little devil ornament on her hat to reference her title, although the face didn't fit her character, so I changed it to a smiley face since she's much nicer than she's made out to be. I then added a poneglyph pattern to the inside of her coat. The inspiration for this was that one trope where the shady dealer opens their coat to reveal contraband, and the contraband Robin deals in is information on the ancient kingdom. I added petals around her second arms to show that they're duplicates. It might have been a little over the top, but I think it's cool. I put buttons on the tops of her boots to reference nails to show that she's nailed to this world. She's where she wants to be and doesn't want to leave it. Many people think that Robin's skin tone should have stayed tan as it was pre-time skip, even though it was a mistake by the animators. I personally could go either way, though for this redesign I went with a tan color as it fits the palette better. After I finished recording, I ended up changing her second hands to be much paler. The idea being that when she makes new hands, it's as if she's growing entirely new ones, so they wouldn't replicate scars or, in this case, tanning. The colors I chose are pretty self-explanatory. With the pants, I wanted to imply that they were made out of the silky texture you'd see in something like pleated pants instead of the leathery texture you typically see in chaps. So I hope that came across in the drawing. I gave the flower fan a bit more of a petalish texture to try and bring out more of that in the design. I colored it vaguely like a sunrise, as the dawn is a common symbol for the downfall of the world government and the rise of a new age, and Robin is one of the biggest contributors to that future. Next up is Brook. Typically, I draw the character's anatomy underneath their clothing before dressing them up, but in Brook's case, I didn't want to draw an entire skeleton that would just be covered anyway. I enjoy the way I draw afros and poofy hair of Brook's kind, but the bangs are always a struggle for me, which is partially why Awesome Clown's bangs don't have line art like the rest of him does. As for Brook's fashion, I wanted to give him an old-timey charm since he is 90 years old. However, the problem with this is that old-fashioned clothes to us are pretty average in the One Piece world, so he wouldn't really stand out. I considered going back to medieval times, but the fashion of that era that stuck out to me the most was brightly colored skin-tight pants, which shockingly wouldn't work well on a skeleton. Eventually, I settled on a dress shirt and striped pants with suspenders, although they're hidden under his jacket. I decided to keep his cravat, as I believe it was added for a similar reason as I stated earlier, and I turned his cane sword into a microphone. I gave him a spiked leather jacket and a 10 count with 3 points. The 10 count or heaven crown is that triangle headband thingy seen on many ghosts and even Brook himself in the Wano arc, and the 3 points resemble a crown. In the last One Piece video, I mentioned that I use shoes as a way to show someone's direction in life, so I put X's on Brook's already bulbous shoes so that they resembled Laboon, as meeting up with him is his end goal. I also gave him spats for some old-fashioned attire. I flared out his leather jacket into a spiky tuxedo shape and gave him a tight belt to show off his lack of organs. However, it looked weird, so I ended up whitening it up a bit later. I added music notes along the stripes of his pants and frost patterns on the ends of his jacket to show off his ice abilities. I tried adding icy fog leaking out of him, but it didn't look good. I made his microphone sword a crossguard to give him some grave symbolism and extended his collar upward to resemble a tombstone. I wrapped a chain around the side of his waist because it fit the aesthetic and it also serves as symbolism, tying him to the mortal plane. Finally, I added a Rumbar Pirates pin on his color as a reminder of them. For his colors, I tried a couple different things, none of which I really liked until the end. I tried to keep his colors as close to black as white as possible to keep him in that old-timey theme, but at the last minute I caved and added some purple as well. Finally, we have Nami. This is actually my second take on a Nami redesign. In fact, my first take was going to be my first video as well. The reason that didn't work out is because I recorded it in absolute dog-ass quality. The first change I made was to her hair, making it swirl like clouds. I stole Robin's old bangs and gave her a bun as well. I ended up removing the top strands of hair from her bun because it looked too much like a pumpkin. I also gave her Robin's old sunglasses, as I feel they fit Nami more. Nami's main ability is to create weather, but she has no protection from said weather, so I turned her Climatect into an umbrella. Just in case it was confusing, the Climatect is the exact same, just with the canopy of an umbrella attached. I extended her tattoo similarly to how I did in the Luffy redesign to represent her growth since Arlong Park. Her design is meant to encompass all the elements that affect the weather, from the sky to the deep sea. Her hair is the clouds and her top is the sun, and I put large dips in between the loops on her pants to look like waves. The bottom of her pant legs are flared for the same reasons. I also put a band around her leg that looks like a Sea King, so she has a holster for her Climatect. I was originally going to base it off of an already existing Sea King, but I didn't like how any of them adapted to the shape I made, so I made one up. I added her log pose and a bracelet to spice up her arm a little bit, and put the berry symbol on her belt. The berry belt buckle serves to symbolize how she views money, since she isn't just blindly greedy. To her, money is a safety net, a way to stay afloat, and so it sits on top of the water. Speaking of Nami's love for money, her pupils are now shaped like diamond jewels to insinuate that, and her hair bun could also be seen as a crown. I gave her wedge heels so that she at least wouldn't snap her ankles going over mild terrain, and made them look like little whales. I put a tentacle and scale pattern on her leggings to allude to more deep sea life. Side note, since the opening of the whale shoe is the hole you put your foot in, it looks like the whale is eating a squid. Finally, I gave her a mini poncho that's see-through and has a bunch of clouds on it. The button on it also represents the moon, as I felt it would be weird not to include since it's so vital to the tides. I kept her colors pretty faithful, however I also introduced a bright gold where it made sense. I made her eyes gold as well to really hammer home her fixation on money. And there you have it, 3 more Straw Hats redesigned. I like all these, nothing much else to say. Subscribe I guess, like if you liked it, and dislike if you're a bad person. If there was anything else you would have done differently, feel free to leave it in the comment section below, and I will see you later. Bye bye!